People are nuts.
Man, we were just talking about traveling again. I went to Dallas last weekend, first flight in a little over a year, and it's just crazy. And I said I had to get first class because I had to get the bigger seats too. So, but Hindu was talking about how he fell asleep with his mask on. And
It was right here. Fell asleep, and the plane, whatever, it came down to right here.
Why was asleep?
While I was asleep. Lady tapped me on the shoulder, about scared me to death. She almost got punched. Like, I was like, ooh, ooh. And she's like, your mask, it's down below your nose. Got to pull it up. I was like, sorry. Because, like, you can mess with a lot of people. Like, I mean, like, I'll give it to a lot of people. But I ain't messing with TSA. Like, them people will get you. They'll put you on a list you don't want to be on.
That's
right?
what I had my mask on, and I sent a picture to our friend Akil, and he was like, "Why are you wearing the mask?" and all that. I said, "Because I don't want to be the next viral video. Somebody like me fighting."
Because
somebody.
people are nuts, man. I mean, it's like crazy. My mind goes back to what was that movie with Ben whatever, Meet the Fockers.
Oh yeah.
And he gets taken into that little room on bum 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 bum. It's like, we went from bomb to mask right now. It's just absolutely just crazy.
Well,
but
it's like the whole, you get the vaccine, but you still have to wear the mask. Like, that's just, what's the vaccine for then?
man, I'm just telling you, dude. Listen, we were on 2 packed out planes. Like, there was not a seat available.
Nope.
And you're sitting
Waiting
shoulder to shoulder with each other. And, like, if you get something to drink or eat, well, you can take off your mask. Because if you're eating or drinking, then you can't.
Corona dies, yeah.
It does. But as soon as it knows when you stop. And when you stop, there it goes. It's out there. You got to get that mask right back up.
Well,
it's just like a control issue, man. Like,
it is. And like you were saying, like, Hindu said he had this in his pocket just because we do work. I mean, we run businesses and we meet people, and we respect somebody that wants us to wear it. We're not going to be some, what's a better word, jackhole or whatever. Right?
Jack leg, man. Just some jack leg.
Do it for them. Like, if that's going to sue them or whatever. And I have a cleaning service, and we had a new house, and our girls wear masks and gloves if they're asked to. Like, they have a thing of masks in the car and some gloves too. Well, we had a new house. The lady didn't put that down. Hey, I need people to wear masks in my house. After it was over, she said, "Oh, the house looks great." She said, "But the girls didn't put a mask on or gloves on." And I was like, "Ma'am, we'll put it on for you if you want us to, but you gotta let us know." So
yeah, they coughed over everything too.
We're cleaning too, by the way.
Did you see that video? Did you see that? I know sometimes we just get on here and we just chat, so that's cool. We do have a topic today and all that, but like, did you see that video of the mom in the grocery store with the Lysol, literally spraying the Lysol right in front of her kid as she's just pushing it? Now, don't get me wrong, nothing's going to come out of that kid, because I know, my wife. I grew up in the country. My wife grew up in the city, and she used to, tell stories about how the mosquito spray trucks would come through the neighborhoods. Like, the county would have a truck that would come out and literally just spray chemicals in the air to kill the mosquitoes and stuff like that. And she said that there would be kids riding behind it on their bicycles, like just all
like
up in the fog.
Ice cream truck.
So I'm like, that kid's gonna be okay, but like, you just had your kid eat Lysol.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw it too. She's in line at a grocery store, and as she's pushing the buggy, ready to check out
in front of her kid, just like,
yeah. And it's like, but that's what goes to our topic. People are just nuts, and but it's driven by fear, and there's a lot of things we can say biblically about that too, and it's fear is going to create that nut mind, So,
and you got to be careful of what people are. People will tell you exactly who they are. Listen to people, watch people. They'll tell you exactly who they are. And if you got somebody, it's my number one reason why I have an issue with Dave Ramsey. Now, Dave's all about some term insurance, and we can argue that all day long, because that's my deal. So like, we can argue all that, like, buy a term and invest the difference. Yeah, right. Who actually does that? That sort of thing. But The insurance company, he doesn't say the insurance company is actually betting that you live and you're actually betting that you die when you buy a term. If you've got, a situation where you can't afford, to be able to put extra money into a policy, then yeah, something's better than nothing. But dude, he preaches fear on that stuff. Like, he doesn't want you to live your life. He wants you to live, excuse me, basically as a hermit.
And live to stay broke.
And it's all based off of fear when he claims to be preaching the gospel. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here bashing Dave, because Dave's a better alternative than the opposite of what he would be preaching.
Sorry about the noise. It's a windy day.
Yeah, it's windy day.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. But at the same time, be careful, because if somebody's always preaching fear, then they've got an agenda. And trust me, that brother has got an agenda. He wants to sell Ramsey solutions, okay? And so be careful about what people are actually telling you and what you're allowing in your life. And so, yeah, we can talk about that. That's not our topic today. As a matter of fact, our topic is basically own it. You got O-N-I-T. I'm from Blue Ridge, so bear with me as far as spelling goes. But you could say own it, and you could have O-N-I-T, or you could have own it and it be O-W-N-I-T. And in a lot of cases, I believe that they're one and the same. The English language is typically tricky for somebody to understand, because so many things have the same pronunciation, but at the same time it has two separate meanings, tomato kind of things. And so what we're going to talk a little bit about today is, what are you doing to be able to own it? And if you're owning it, are you on it? And so I got that because some stuff that we've been through in the past, and man, I love everything that we've been through. I'm so thankful and grateful for everything that I've been through in life. I'm so grateful for the mountaintops. Who isn't grateful for a mountaintop? But what I found is, I found myself upset about some of the valleys that I've been through. And my personality, and I think I share this in common with a lot of people, when we're in the valley, we like to play the blame game. We like to, try to push things off on other people.
We stop owning it.
We
give it away.
So what I've been able to find out is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. Unsuccessful people are always looking to push the blame on somebody else. They're always looking for a handout. They're always looking for those types of things. But yet people that actually own it are always the ones that are successful, and they're always on top of everything. They're on top of their schedule. They're on top of their health. They're on top of their finances. They're on top of, they're not afraid to cross the T's and dot the I's. And so many people like to put that stuff in the back of their mind, and they'll say, oh, I'll do that later. I've got a news flash for everybody here, and if you're taking notes, or if you want to jot a mental note down, whatever you want to do, you've got to understand that time is not your friend. This Back to the Basics podcast is more than just entrepreneurship, but there's a lot of what we do that surrounds entrepreneurship. You can apply this to even your relationships. You can apply it to your network. You can apply it to your family, whatever you want to apply it to. Are you owning everything, and are you on it? Are you on top of things? I found myself just last night, because I was super busy. I told you guys a few weeks ago, man, I'm back in the grind like never before. Like, I don't know.
He's owning it.
Yeah, man. I've been in a valley. I went through some things in business and had to overcome some stuff and play the blame game for a long time. And, there was just this one day, thankfully, because I'd created a system around me to where, man, I know that if I get to feeling a certain way, man, I've got to watch what I'm listening to. I got to cut the TV off. I got to cut the news off. All the stuff that's going on in the news today, I'm having to hear about it from other people. And there again, I do guard who I listen to. So when I do hear about it from other people, I actually go and do my own due diligence with it. Not through some news station or anything else like that, but we go digging. But I had no idea a lot of this stuff was going on, because I had to cut all of that negative out of my life so that I could actually start owning where I was at, so that way I could pick myself up, strap up my boots again, and just make a decision just to go do it, right?
Holding yourself accountable. Like you said, the valleys, it's easy to say, now that I'm here, look at me, poor pitiful me, or whatever, and looking at the negative situations. And then that breeds. You were saying it earlier that what you hang around, you're going to become. The people you're with, that's what how your thoughts are going to go too. And so, like, it goes all across. So if you're in that valley and your mind's negative, like you said, you'll start finding the negatives in everything. Like, you'll start wanting to listen to negative people. I was talking to a buddy of mine, I think it might have been Robert, and right now I can't remember. Anyway, we were talking. I was saying, like, even if it's one of my boys. I said, even if I like listening to, rap, some heavy duty rap like Eminem or something like that, and I'm listening to a lot. He's so angry in his songs, I start getting angry. Like, I'll start cussing.
Sure.
And so getting out of that valley, the best way to always do it is to own that too. That God's teaching you something that you need to know at that point in time, so you can actually reach even higher peaks. And so it's a challenge. Owning it's a challenge. Like, when you're in those situations, owning it when you're winning is like, yeah, baby, yeah,
It's easy to own it when you're winning.
Yeah.
It's easy to own it from the top of the mountain.
Yes. And people forget the man at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. He had to climb. And we know the peaks and valleys. We know along the way that there's going to be people letting you down. There's going to be, haters, like we like to say haters, all the time. But people maybe are just ignorant to what you're doing. And that's all a hater is, somebody that's ignorant. Some of them are stupid, but there's a difference there.
There's a lot of them that are stupid.
So
we got to take a quick break, guys. We'll be back for our next segment, and I got something for you on that. So we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Teresa Quinn.
And I'm Trey Kirkland.
And we are the best little housekeepers in town. We have been serving the upstate of South Carolina since 1992. What started as a small family business has turned into 27 years of amazing service for the upstate.
Our ladies strive to take care of your cleaning needs as if it were their own houses.
So, when your house is a mess, time to contact the best little housekeepers, that is.
So, we're talking about owning it, like literally O-N-I-T and then O-W.
I said
N-I-T.
I can't. I had adult school.
O-H.
I forgot how to spell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Don't even get me started on that.
Close man.
Don't even get me started on that at all.
We got a lot of friends from the area, too.
Oh, I know.
I bet you got heck like crazy, didn't you? Did you get hit up?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but hey, you know what? You got to be able to take it to give it, and you got to be able to give it to take it. You got to own it, and I did. I owned it.
He owns the W's. He can own the L's. Right?
I am not letting a sporting event affect me emotionally like that ever again. I don't care.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah,
we talked about that last week.
Never.
We were talking a good bit during the break. Just a lot of good stuff, and maybe we'll pull over some to this section right here, but just a lot of great stuff. And some of that stuff I'm wanting to record too, and just kind of keep it to the side. Some bonus section. Maybe eventually one day we get this big enough, we'll have a whole website, and there'll be. I can think of a couple of the podcast people like Stephen Crowder. He has the Mug Club, and people will get extra content and stuff like that.
Right.
Monthly, but because it's some good stuff, brother. Some good stuff. So I appreciate that. So
yeah, man.
So you I'm talking about owning it, and I watched you build a business, international business, to multi-million-dollar business. To actually, together we helped bring it up to a billion-dollar business. Really, and so. During those times, like the valleys, the highs, the lows, even to currently what you're digging right now, because I know when you do go all out, and yet it feels good when you're owning it again, doesn't it?
Dude.
So, just
so good.
just talk to back to basics people out here. What are some of those challenges to keep you to owning it? As you're going through building it.
Well, man, it was. I guess I can say it like this.
Too,
yeah, currently too. Yeah, I guess I can say it like this. You are what you are. So what does that mean? Well, losers are losers because losers lose. Winners are winners because winners win. Right? I mean, complainers complain. Grinders are grinders. Like, And I believe that, you know, deep down inside of all of us, you know, we're goal setters. You know, we're people that want to get out and make things happen. You know, I kind of crapped on Dave Ramsey a little bit ago, so I guess I'll give him some props here. You know, we are people, we leave the house, we go out, we kill stuff, and we drag it home. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's who we are. And, you know, when you're back in the cut, because, you know, I guess I can share it, but I don't know, you know, how deep and stuff like that you want to get to. But like, whenever you've watched things happen, like a global pandemic completely destroy everything that you built in, you know, 10 years time, not 9 years time. You're like, oh, it was completely out of my control.
Yeah.
You know, but then you run through the emotions of where you blame other people, decisions, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day, I had to own it. And during that time, man, it was a lot of depression. You know, I mean, maybe some of you guys have had a relationship that's, you know, ended after several years. You know how you feel like that? Like, you know, my business is more than just a business. You know, business is nothing more than relationships. And we had developed a ton of relationships, like so many good relationships. And when that gets basically cut off, then you have a separation anxiety, and it was tough for a long time.
And a lifestyle too we created.
Yeah.
Like you said, something was out of your total control.
No, but here's the thing: is we've always got options, and so I one day just like I wasn't at the mirror, but you know, figuratively, I was looking at myself in the mirror one day. And I said, you know, I can either remain where I'm at, or I can do some stuff different. Mm-hmm. Either I can continue to focus my energy on the negative, or I can turn and focus my energy on the positive, own where I was at, and pick up and move on. And that was something that I had to do. Nobody could make me do that. There was nothing that anybody could tell me that they, you know, like, I mean, I even had people where, you know, you think people care about you, but, you know, you go through something like that, they don't care about you because they prove themselves over time that they don't.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of that was dictated into some of that depression and stuff like that too. But,
yep.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, I realized that I couldn't continue to place blame in other places. I just had to pick myself up and let's just get going. And you talk about, you know, feeling good. Like the other day, man, grinders grind, and I'm a grinder. Like, I didn't realize how much I missed the process
till you got back in it
of the grind until I was in it.
Yeah.
How much you love just putting heart, soul, everything into it. And you know, you made a good point during the break about, you know, so many people, you know, let you down. Like, I mean, like, how can you trust anybody ever again? And so I brought up a person that, you know, that I've chosen to surround myself with. You know, he's got everything that I was looking for to be able to expand my circle. Let me pause, and I don't want to jump places, but let me say this. Everything that happens to you is here to promote you, okay? It's here to make you better. It's here to make you the person that you were destined, that you were designed, that you were created to be. So no matter what you went through in life, we've got to look at it through the right lens. Like, you know, on our weekly podcast call that we do every single week, you know, I talk about that we don't hear with our ears in the spirit like we do naturally. Like, that's how we're listening right now, is with our ears. But in all reality, you know, in the spirit, we listen with our heart, right? And so when you put your heart, mind, body, soul into everything, and literally people that told you that they loved you, that they appreciate, like, you've watched what you've poured into them, and you've completely changed their life, that just literally just turned their back on you, that hurts more than you could ever possibly imagine. But going through all of that kind of stuff, I knew I needed to surround myself with people that have been through stuff like that. And, you know, I've been able to expand my circle. And one of the things that, you know, I've allowed a guy to start speaking in my life, one of the things that I've noticed about him, I observed about him, We've had discussions about it. Is like, how do you get over that? Like, how do you, because if you've ever been screwed over, it's hard to trust anybody ever again. And if you don't allow yourself to forget about all that, what you'll end up being is a miserable human being. You'll be some of the people that you're watching on TV. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, the one thing, and like most of the answers I've gotten from a lot of the people that I trust, a lot of the people that I look to for advice, the advice that he gave me was not an answer. It was just like, you got to figure it out. You got to do it. It's not something that you should do. It's not something that you maybe you got to just figure it out.
You have to take ownership, which goes back to what this topic's about. And so, and what he's talking about during our break, I was just saying some things that for me, we all go through battles. One of my valleys that I was in is that a business we built was very personable, so you had to get into people's lives. And so I would jokingly say that I didn't like people. I was like, I want to chill out on a mountain by myself somewhere or something like that, because I just don't like people. And that's not the truth. I love people. You can ask Hindu. Yeah. I don't meet a stranger anywhere, and I love people. I think it's more that fear of I've loved people, but so many people have let me down. And having somebody, that's part of ownership too. Having somebody that you can talk with, and that's what we want this podcast to be. Yeah. Hindu and I, we've both been somebody we could talk to, and we'll be straight with each other. Everybody needs somebody to say, hey, this is what I suggest. This is my experiences. But you got to own it yourself too.
Sometimes you just need to be told to quit being a punk.
Stop being a crybaby.
Stop being a whiner. Yeah. You're not a whiner. Whiners whine. You're not a whiner. Quit whining.
There's no crying in baseball. So
love it.
But excited, man. We're gonna finish up one more segment here. We'll be right back in just a little bit, and let's own it, baby.
You either have a plan to win or a plan to lose. If you don't have a plan at all, you're actually planning to fail. Begin with the end in mind. At Legacy Life Co., we help families begin their legacy today. All right, guys, we got our Bible verse for today. Now, just remember, we're talking about owning it, right? And I talked to you about guarding your emotions, guarding your thoughts. What we focus on grows the most, okay? And case in point is we want to look in Acts 9 today. I'm going to start with verse 1. During those days, Saul, full of angry threats and rage, wanted to murder the disciples of the Lord Jesus. So the emotions cause those actions. What are your actions right now? You've got to know what your actions are, right? If you know what your actions are, you can look, and I bet you they're going to be a direct reflection to your emotions. Have you ever heard the old saying, when it rains, it pours? It's the reason because you're continually to focus on the rain, so it's just going to rain harder, right? So Saul, who becomes Paul in this story, right? We're not going to go there, even though I would love to go there, but we're not going to go there today. I just wanted you to look at, he had angry thoughts and rage and wanted to murder the disciples of the Lord. So he went to ask the high priest and requested a letter of authorization he could take to the Jewish leaders in Damascus, requesting their cooperation. He was coordinating his plan out of anger and rage. So look at what he was doing. Requesting their cooperation in finding and arresting any who were followers of the way. Saul wanted to capture all of the believers he found, both men and women, drag them as prisoners back to Jerusalem. That was his plan. What are your plans? What are your goals? What emotional state? How much mental clarity are you working in? How much mental clarity are you focusing in? Well, I'm not in a good place. Okay, good. I had to recognize that I was not in a good place. There was a time where I was like, nope, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not building a business. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. I don't be a lot like Trey was saying. I don't trust anybody. I don't want to be around people. I don't like. That's not me. I love people. I love being around people. I love all that stuff. But my emotions, my mindset at that time was I didn't want to have anything to just find me something that I can do all on my own, where I don't have to rely on anybody else, and I can do it all. It was coming from a bad state. So what I had to do, and I'm not going to tell you what you got to do, because only you. I'm not here to tell you what you need to do. I'm just here to tell you, I had to switch what I was focusing on. I had to come to the understanding, revelation knowledge, if you will. I had to come to the understanding that everything works in my favor. Everything that happens to you is there to promote you. It's not to tear you down. It's not to take you backwards. It's not to keep you down. It's not so anybody can keep their foot on you, their thumbprint on you. None of that. Anything and everything that happens is happening to us to be able to promote us. So we got to make sure that we're focusing in the right area. I had to reassess my goals. As a matter of fact, we're going to make a screenshot, and I can put it up on our IG page, even if we hadn't. But one of the books that really helped me outside of the Bible's the first place that I went. Like when I started feeling like that, I just had to get more in the Word. I had to make myself. I was never a reader. I know that we got some people that we went to high school with. You watch this podcast, you're laughing right now because when I say that I was not a reader, I was not a reader in school. I had to learn to make myself read. Okay. And so I was in the Word, but I had to 10x it. I hate using that word 10x, golly, because I'm not a Grant Cardone fan. So I hate using the word. I had to put my growth. I had to put my, action on steroids to be able to get out of it. So I had to reevaluate what I was listening to. And so I started, not only was I reading in the Word, I was listening to an audio. It's a book by Brian Tracy. It's called Goals. Dude, that book is amazing because it gives you step by step. Now, if you know who Brian Tracy is, if you know what he's done, you'll understand why I listen to him, right? He's done it. He's not just wrote about it. He's just not taught about it. He is about it. He owns it, right? And so it helped me own my situation. I had to reevaluate where I was at, and it had me starting to write this stuff out. And it's the step-by-step instructions to be able to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be. And you're like, well, I don't buy into all that kind of stuff. Well, you should start buying into that stuff. It works. It's actually biblical. Where you focus on, Saul was focusing on killing Christians. So out of anger and rage, he did whatever he needed to do to be able to make that happen. Now, thankfully, later on during the story, he had an encounter.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you were changed.
Well, it's like you said, we know we're not fully in control. We can just do our part. You just said that here, beginning of this section right here. Well, he owned it. He had his vision and goal, what he wanted to do. And guess what? He ran into a man that changed him, right? And so, and said, okay, no, you're not going to persecute. You're going to actually take my name and build it bigger. And so along the way, that's why you got to trust that process. Hate to use that. That's a cliche thing to say, but it's the truth. You got to trust the process. Trust that if you own it and you keep owning what you're doing, and you know that you're doing the thing right, and you're putting your efforts in, you're doing the hard work, that the results will come. And that's even scientific. For every action, there's opposite equal reaction. So if you're putting in a lot of work, it's going to come back. It may not. Your goal might be here, and something get deterred, like Jesus did with Saul. And gear you towards the right direction along the way. You just can't stop owning it.
Let's talk about that process. You started saying trust the process. It's easier to trust the process when you understand that everything works for you. You have a different outlook on things. When you're like, well, you don't know what I've been through. Yeah, I don't. But you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what Trey's been through. You don't know what other people. We all go through everything. The Bible says that there's no new information under the sun. We all go through stuff, right? But when we realize that it's there to promote us, like it's there to help you, and when you own it, when you actually start owning it, you'll get on it. You'll get with it. The only thing that makes things work is when you make things work.
That's good.
It doesn't happen because you want it to happen. It happens because you make it happen. People don't get to where they want in life because they're hoping to, because hope does not float. They get there because they put in the effort, they put in the energy, they're diligent with their schedule, they protect their schedule, they protect every aspect of them, and they use time as the leverage. See, you can leverage time to be able to not do something, or you can use time to be able to leverage to do something.
Yep.
And so when you realize that time is not your friend, that you got to get on with it, you'll get on it.
Love it. And then on top of that, kind of end it perfectly that way. Get on our podcast. Get on, get on. We're on iTunes.
On our call.
Yes, get on our call.
Become a part of the community.
Make it intentional.
We don't want you to be own it to be just own it. We want you to own it.
Own it.
We don't want you to be own it. See, we didn't even think about it. I didn't think about that. We don't want you just to be O-N-I-T. We want you to O-W-N-I-T.
So this
get on it.
Take ownership of ownership of this podcast too. And so we are YouTube. You can follow us there. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell, or they won't notify you if you are subscribed to it. It's crazy, but if you're Apple, we're on iTunes. Go ahead and subscribe us just there on iTunes Podcast, Google Play, and then if you go to anchor.com and you look for us, it's going to have every little link to everything we're on. And so follow us on Facebook, Instagram, a lot of information there too, guys. And so it's been another great one, brother.
Let go, baby, let go. Get excited today. Get excited.